Hey y'all, we gon' get it right here. This the remix. Oh.
Every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I need you in my life.
I say this verse, all praises to the Most High. Sitting on the throne, Chingy the king, but I go.
Remember the early 2000s? You couldn't turn on the radio without hearing Chingy's hits like Right Thur and Holiday Inn. He was everywhere, right? But behind those chart-topping tracks and catchy hooks, Chingy's journey is a classic story of highs and lows, drama and redemption. Born and raised in the tough streets of St. Louis, Chingy's rise to fame wasn't a smooth ride. From penning his first lyrics at a crazy early age to getting caught up in industry beefs and personal controversies, Chingy's life was nothing short of a roller coaster. And just when you thought you knew it all, there's more to uncover. Heartbreaking losses, unexpected comebacks, and a quest for peace and purpose. Today, we're diving deep into Chingy's story. From his early days hustling in his grandma's packed house, through the meteoric rise of his debut album Jackpot, to the intense public feuds and personal trials that tested his resilience. We'll also explore his transformation beyond the music scene, including his journey into astrology and his battles to reclaim his spot in the ever-changing world of hip-hop. So, buckle up and get ready to explore the fascinating life of Chingy, a tale of grit, glamour, and the relentless pursuit of staying true to oneself. Let's go. Born on March 9, 1980, Howard Bailey Jr., better known as Chingy, came up from the tough streets of St. Louis's North Side, repping Walnut Park. In an interview, he spilled the tea about growing up in a hood that was teeming with crime and full of kids struggling without families. It was rough out there, no doubt.
Well, I was real close to my mother as well.
But I'm Chingy's mom, and I am very excited and very happy right now. This is, I guess, about 3 or 4 hours.
Chingy grew up squeezed into his grandma's 2-bedroom crib with a whole squad of relatives. We're talking up to a dozen, including his 4 siblings. Money was tight, real tight. Even though his mom hustled hard at her job and his dad had some sketchy side gigs, they struggled to make ends meet.
May my mother rest in paradise, and my father, he's still here, but you know, they wasn't hug you all the time, kiss you all the time.
According to Rolling Stone, Chingy was already penning lyrics by the age of 8. By 10, he was recording battle raps, leveling up his skills in the rap game. But life wasn't all smooth sailing. After his parents split, he was bouncing around like a pinball between homes. At just 12, he got caught for stealing a car and did a month in juvie. That stint was a major wake-up call. I guess Chingy knew he didn't want to end up locked up for good. In his early teens, Chingy teamed up with a local homie and started a rap group called LSD. Back then, he was going by H Thugs, because why not? They were killing it at local talent shows. And since the St. Louis hip-hop scene was pretty low-key, they grabbed a ton of attention. While juggling rap with flipping burgers at Burger King, Chingy was hustling hard, all while keeping up with schoolwork at McClure North High.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Misfit.
MIC.
Yeah, and we was in Without Warning with my homie Chingy.
Eventually, he dropped the H Thugs vibe and rebranded as Chingy. LSD evolved too, adding a third member and switching their name to Without Warning. When Chingy was 16, he started penning what would become the iconic hook and first verse of Right Thur. It took a few more years before that banger would drop and the world would get hooked on his catchy beats. In 1996, Chingy and his crew, then rolling as a trio, snag a deal with a local startup label. They hustled hard, dropped a CD of their tracks, and hit the road. But with barely any cash backing them up, they found themselves performing in some pretty random spots, including freaking Alaska. Talk about a cool gig, literally. Eventually, the trio split up, and at 17, Chingy was stepping into the daddy role for the first time. Despite the curveballs, he graduated high school in '99 and kept things afloat by hustling on the side and doing odd jobs. But the rap dream was far from over.
We got to open up on their shows, on the little run that they did. So this is pretty big, because Nail was like the biggest star in probably the United States at the time.
He teamed up with two childhood buddies and formed a new group called 3 Strikes. These guys caught the eye of Nelly, who was blowing up with his country grammar vibes. Fast forward to 2002, and Nelly invites 3 Strikes to open for him on tour. Imagine that. Chingy learned some cool stuff from touring with Nelly, but was already square in his own lane by then.
We did a couple songs together and we thought we sounded good together. And so it was just like, let's just make a group out of it. And so we made a group out of it called 3 Strikes.
After 3 Strikes called it quits, Chingy got a sweet hookup with Nelly's crew. The manager of Nelly's Saint Lunatics squad got Chingy a deal with hip-hop producers Trackstarz. They told him they had a beat ready, and Chingy instantly knew it was the perfect fit for a song he had in his back pocket, Right There. Yep, he'd written those lyrics years earlier, just waiting for the right moment. Trackstarz were hyped and took Chingy's tracks to the big dogs. They got in touch with Ludacris's label, Disturbing Tha Peace. Luda's team was all ears, and after spinning some of Chingy's jams, they knew they had to sign him. And just like that, Chingy went from local gigs and small-time hustles to a record deal and a shot at the big leagues. Talk about a glow-up. In 2003, Chingy's hit single Right There dropped, and boom, everyone was hooked. People couldn't get enough of his catchy beats and smooth flow. The track shot up to the #2 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. But it wasn't just the song that had folks buzzing. The music video took it to another level. Chingy had everyone doing the chicken head dance, instant viral sensation.
Hey y'all, we gon' get it right here. This the remix. Oh.
That same year, he released his album Jackpot, and thanks to bangers like Right There, One Call Away featuring Jason Weaver, and Holiday Inn with Ludacris and Snoop Dogg, the album exploded. Chingy sold over 3 million copies, earning double platinum status. At the 2003 Billboard Awards, Chingy had his moment in the spotlight as an on-stage presenter. He was also up for 2 awards. But here's the plot twist. Even though he won both, his wins weren't announced live. Instead, Billboard mailed his awards to his house. Major letdown. Chingy told Hot New Hip Hop it crushed his dream. A harsh intro to the shady side of the music biz.
The new artist of the year 2004 goes to Chingy!
Then came 2004, and things got heated. Chingy made a dramatic exit from Ludacris's label, Disturbing Tha Peace, DTP, over allegations of mismanagement and missing royalty payments. Drama. But that wasn't all. Chingy also had a beef brewing with his St. Louis counterpart, Nelly. The two threw shade at each other through diss tracks. Chingy fired shots with his track We Got, rapping, "It's hip-hop, boy, this ain't pop, boy. The streets is really where I'm from, and you not, boy." Nelly clapped back in XXL, saying, "You gotta watch what you're saying unless you mean it." Despite the beef, Nelly later revealed he reached out to Chingy to squash things and even suggested they go on tour together. Talk about a roller coaster of rap rivalry. With drama behind him and beefs popping off all over the industry, Chingy decided to carve his own path. He launched his own record label, Slot A Lot Records, under Capitol Records. In 2004, he dropped his second album, Powerballin', which flew off the shelves, selling over 127,000 copies in just the first 2 weeks. The single Bala Baby even hit the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop chart. Back-to-back success, Chingy was on fire.
You know the definition of a baller. That's
Not stopping at music, Chingy set his sights on Hollywood. In 2005, he popped up on TV shows like My Wife and Kids and Punk'd. Fast forward to 2006, and he snagged a cameo in Scary Movie 4. Oh, and he also welcomed his second child that year. Talk about a busy dude.
Chingy.
In September 2006, Chingy released his third album, Hood Star. He told Billboard that the hit single Pullin' Me Back, featuring Tyrese, was inspired by his own relationship drama. It shot to the top of the R&B charts, but his next single, Dem Jeans, featuring Jermaine Dupri, only made it to number 24. The album went gold, but it didn't hit the same heights as his earlier records. Chingy pointed fingers at Capitol Records for the flop and decided it was time to bounce. Realizing that Ludacris and DTP might not have mismanaged his money after all, he went back to his old stomping grounds in 2007. He dropped his fourth album, Hate It or Love It, with heavy hitters like Ludacris, Bobby Valentino, Rick Ross, and Trey Songz. But it didn't catch fire, selling only 30,000 copies in its first week and peaking at number 84. Ouch. After that, Chingy said goodbye to DTP again. He rebranded his label from Slot-A-Lot Records to Full Deck Music and decided to take a break from the limelight. He teased fans with a mixtape and hinted at a fifth album titled No Risk, No Reward, but without the funds to back it, the album never saw the light of day. In 2010, Chingy found himself caught up in a juicy, headline-grabbing rumor. A transgender woman named Sydney Starr dropped some bombshell photos of them together and claimed they had a little something going on. Chingy quickly denied it, saying she was just a fan. But let's be real, no one was buying his side of the story at first.
Who we thought was all girls on stage in body paint dancing. While I'm on stage, one happened to say they're a fan of mine and want a picture. I took the picture. Next thing you know, 2 years later, all of this false stuff comes out nobody knows nothing about.
Fast forward, and Sydney later confessed that she took the pics with Chingy 2 years earlier and only shared them to stir up some drama after her friends suggested it might boost her career. She apologized, but by then, the rumor mill had already done its damage. Chingy opened up to Vlad TV, saying not only did he blame Sydney for the mess, but also the people who ran with the story without checking the facts. He claimed he lost a major deal over the bad press and felt blackballed by the industry. Even some of his music biz pals distanced themselves. Talk about a rough patch. Despite all this chaos, Chingy showed some serious class. He forgave Sydney for the whole scandal. Over the next few years, he dropped several mixtapes, welcomed his third child, and even showed up on Couples Therapy with his then-girlfriend Temple. And here's a plot twist. While everyone else was busy with partying and the usual celeb stuff, Chingy was deep diving into the universe. He told Hot New Hip Hop that he got a degree in astrology and cosmology from the University of Comedian Sciences. He wasn't about that smoke and drink life. He was all about expanding his mind and learning more about the world. Imagine gearing up for a music comeback, only to face some serious heartbreak. In 2017, Chingy lost his aunt, his mom, and a few cousins, all at once. He told STL Today that trying to stay focused on music during such a tough time was the hardest thing he's ever done. But in 2018, Chingy teased a new album, Frequency, to Billboard. Unfortunately, as of now, that album's still MIA. There was a glimmer of hope for Chingy fans in 2019 when he hopped on BTK's Millennium Tour. He's still dropping tracks and doing smaller gigs, but he's cautious about diving headfirst back into the industry. In an interview, he talked about learning some hard lessons. He used to trust folks way too much, thinking they had his back. Turns out, most were just looking out for number one. Back in the day, Chingy had stacks of cash and a global fan base hanging on his every rhyme. Now, as an indie artist, he's struggling to get the airplay he deserves on streaming sites that cozy up to big record labels. But through it all, he's found peace in the journey.